Welcome to 10 of the best and coolest Nat 3 passives in Summoner's War. The concept for this video was actually given to me by someone who left a comment on the last episode of the series, which, if you're unfamiliar with it, what we do is we take the passive or third skill of a monster and look at it in a vacuum, separating it from the rest of the kit and the monster it's attached to. So today is going to be a fun experiment because we're going to be looking at Nat 3 passives that could, in theory, be cooler on like a Nat 5 or just a monster with a different kit in general. Now, notably, I'm not going to be including 2A units because those are already so good that you don't need to do too much speculating on what they'd be like on other units. And they already basically have like Nat 4 and 5 stats, so we're sticking to just Nat 3s today. And these are in no particular order. Starting the list off, number 10, it's Little Hummingbird, which belongs to Raccoony. At the start of your turn, it targets the unit with the lowest health, and it'll remove 2 debuffs off of them and heal them for 15%. That's actually so good just on its own. We have Nat 5s that have passives that are similar to this. Like, look at units like Gapsu, for instance. It removes 1 debuff and heals for 10% and does one other thing, you know? So it's not a huge leap to say that this is already a Nat 5 quality passive. And frankly, Raccoony has a great kit for it. But I don't want to say that because it kind of goes against the concept of the video. Next, number 9 is Chaser. So now Chaser has already had an entry on the Light and Dark passives video, but I feel like now is a really good time to highlight it as a natural 3-star passive. The fact that it was up there against all these Nat 5 passives is a testament to the quality of this passive skill. Now, what it does is it applies a defense break with every attack and tries to reduce the target's attack bar. And you guys already know my thoughts on this. That's broken, and the devs don't want it to exist in the game. But they let it exist in this little pocket called Lauren's passive. Like, it's already great on Lauren, but could you imagine it on something that has like an AoE and maybe attacks with like one other unit, like a team up effect or something? Like, I'm just like pulling this out of the thin air, but like imagine if it was on like Shina or something. Wouldn't that be crazy? Oh, I miss Shina so much, dude. Number 8, Amon, the Light Warbear. No, that's not true. It's the Bear Man. That was incredibly rude of me to get that wrong. It's his passive anyway. It's not the monster, so it doesn't really matter. It says that when you crit on your turn, it heals all of your allies for 20% of your max HP. You know, thank God that this is on a unit that has a natural 3 stars base HP and only hits once. Because if this was on a Nat 5 with multi-hits, that would be crazy. In fact, that was left in a comment on the last video. So, great call. This would be broken on anything that hits even twice. 7 is Martial Arts Specialist. This one makes you immune to defense break and does additional damage based on defense if yours is higher than the target. That sounds a lot like Feng Yan. But Feng can get defense broken, and this passive wouldn't let you do that. See, what's funny too is the comparisons don't stop there because Feng Yan's passive also gives innate damage reduction if your defense is higher, but he can still be applied with defense break. This one doesn't give the damage reduction, but you can't get defense broken. So in a way, that's kind of like you're having your damage reduced until you encounter something that ignores defense. But hey, dude, hold on. That's not fair. We weren't talking about that. Protection of Light is the next one on the list, and this one belongs to Grago the Light Golem. Grago, Grogan. Wait, did I already say Grogan? This is a very common naming convention. What the passive says is that no single hit can exceed more than 20% of your HP. So in a sense, it is kind of akin to Leica's passive, but with fewer clauses on it. So the premise of this video is to do speculation on what these passives would be like on a Nat 5, a Nat 4 unit with a different kit, what have you. Now this one, you don't have to do too much speculation because it already fundamentally exists on Leica. But for the sake of conversation, if this passive was on a Nat 4, Nat 5, something with a stronger kit, maybe a faster base speed as well, you could bring it up against comps that are trying to snipe you, and then you could reliably not get sniped. Very cool passive. The next one's really cool too. This one is called Punish, and it belongs to Elpuria, the Light Serpent. It makes it so that your attack and defense are increased by 20% every time you're attacked, and that stacks up to 10 times. So I'm sort of getting flashes of Meiho Wang's gold headband passive here, but the stacks are really high. It's funny because I actually remember this unit being troublesome for me when I first started Summoner's War, because there's a whole bunch of them in Trial of Ascension, and if they took one turn, they'd just annihilate my monsters. So I can't help but think about how cool this would be nowadays if it were on a unit that wasn't a serpent. Master of Hunting is our next passive, and it belongs to Gang Chun. This one says that if you attack someone who has no debuffs on, it'll give defense break to the target. Now, if you attack somebody who already has debuffs, it's gonna attempt to freeze them instead. Automatic defense break whenever you attack, plus a little bit of crowd control, that is so effective and very helpful. This means he sets up his own damage, or you could set it up for him to freeze someone. I could see this pairing really well with something like maybe a cigar. After they move, they strip, reset someone, push back attack bars, and then now that they've got provokes on them, your Gang Chun passive goes off and you freeze them. On the last three here, the final stretch of the list, this one is Hawk's Eye, and it belongs to Nangrim, another one of the Beast Hunters. It takes some time to set up, but this passive allows every hit to have up to a 50% chance to ignore defense, and it's dependent on how many debuffs are on the target. Now, I don't think I have to sit here and explain how crazy it is to have a 50% chance to ignore defense on an attack. That is so powerful, especially because it isn't a portion of the enemy's defense. Now, I imagine if this passive was written today, the templating would look something like, you ignore a portion of the enemy's defense that's proportionate to how many debuffs are on the target. But that's not how it is. It just affects the chance. So ignoring all of the enemy's defense off this would just be crazy. And it could lead to some incredibly hype moments when you get it, when you need it, or memorable moments if you don't get it when you need it. Number 2 is Lord of Labyrinthos. This passive increases your attack power by 50% and makes it so that you heal for 30% of the damage you deal whenever you attack. But if you're at full health, you instead get a shield equal to the amount that you would have healed. The reason that I really like this passive is that I can't help but think about how cool it would be on a unit that just does more damage or has more opportunities to do damage. This is almost reminiscent of Dominic's passive, in the sense that Dominic has extra attack and he also can heal after a certain point. You guys will have to tell me what unit you'd like to see this passive given to, because I'm sure there'd be a way to break this. I'm sure of it. Like maybe you pair this with the Wind Pudding Princess too, so that way whenever someone's attacked with a shield on, they get their damage reflected. I don't know. I'm just thinking. I also really just like the Wind Pudding Princess. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe this is a hot take. I don't know. Number 1, Storm Warrior. I know I said that these are in no particular order, but if there was an order, this one would actually have a pretty solid chance of being number 1 of the 10. Every attack has a 50% chance to stun, and it's boosted to 100% if you crit. Hello? What? That's crazy. Dude, this kind of turns like Verd's skill 2 into Julian's skill 2, by the way. Like if this was on an LD unit and you just run it on 100% crit rate, it's a stun every turn. That sounds like Leona. Now, don't even get me started. I know someone in the comments is going to try to give this to a unit that like has an AoE. This would be crazy AoE. Like you give this thing to the Magic Knights and all of a sudden they're all just a worse Iris. And by worse, I mean way better. All right, that's it for the list. Let me know in the comments who you'd give these Nat 3 passives to if you had the choice. Talk to y'all later.